Chapter 1. Shh. She's a secret. I met her in 2018 or 2019. I can't remember exactly. Secret was her name, though I didn't name her. She came with that name already stitched into her story, like a whisper sealed shut. She was boarded on someone's property in Virginia, gifted to a young woman by her father, one of those "I wasn't there for you, so here's something big and beautiful" kind of gestures. A present instead of presents. A horse instead of a father. The story I was told was that the girl never bonded with her, that Secret kept her distance, that she had trouble connecting with anyone, really. You know, those kinds of stories people tell about their horses when they don't actually know what's happened to them. Those are the kinds of stories Secret carried. Stories with gaps. Stories like fences with missing rails. Stories that didn't feel right in my bones. I heard rumors that children had ridden her at one point, that she lived on someone else's land for years. But who knows what's true? I can't imagine anyone actually giving her up. All I can offer is the story of how I knew her, what unfolded between us. At the time, I was helping an acquaintance with her 2 horses. Actually, I was using that as an excuse. I wasn't just being kind. I was desperate for something to take me out of my head, out of the noise, out of the storms that always felt just minutes from blowing my life apart. My mind has always been a tsunami factory. Helping with horses offered a kind of silence I couldn't find anywhere else, a steadiness I didn't yet understand. And that's when I found myself on the same property as Secret. She didn't gallop up to greet me. She didn't nuzzle me or act like we were destined. That's not her style. She's a lead mare. She waits, watches. She stood nearby, off to the side, always close but never needy. She gave me her side eye more than her trust, but she was there again and again, present, curious, watching me. And I started watching her. Her official owner, the young woman who'd been gifted her, would show up sometimes and ride her in stiff circles. Secret did her job. She went where she was told, but the whole time I could feel it. A disconnect. It wasn't working. Secret was tolerating it, but not participating. I later learned the girl was trying to unload her. She'd convinced the property owner that Secret had bad legs, that she was lame, that she had arthritis, that she wasn't worth the trouble or the grain or the trips out to feed her. She was 17 then, just old enough to become disposable. The man who owned the property had considered taking Secret for his daughter, but now, thanks to those rumors, he wasn't interested either. The boarding situation was bare bones anyway, cheap, self-care, inadequate stalls, no grooming, lots of mud. If you wanted your horse fed, you had to come out and do it yourself. Most horses got visits, got care. I tended to take care of the ones I knew who didn't. Secret stood off alone, which is ironic now, knowing her like I do. This is not a horse who can be alone, not even a little bit. Her limp started suddenly, back left leg, out of nowhere. Maybe it was arthritis, maybe it was something else. Either way, her value dropped. The girl didn't want her anymore. And that's when my acquaintance, half friend, half opportunist, told me she could be mine. "All you have to do is take over her board," she said. "She'll just give her to you." I didn't even know how to put a halter on a horse. I didn't know how to saddle one. I'd ridden, yes. I'd always loved them, felt that they knew something about me I hadn't yet figured out myself. But I'd never owned a horse. And I still think that word is a joke. We don't own them. We just mismanage them, forget that they are sovereign, endure them when they won't perform for us, mourn them only after we've broken them. And still, I said yes, before I even knew what hyperphantasia was, before autism, ADHD, dyscalculia, all of it. They were notes I'd released into the wind. Back then, I only knew about the trauma, the early childhood abuse, the depression, the labels that didn't stick, the ones that didn't explain me, but they were all I had. And still, I said yes. Did my acquaintance manipulate me a little? Probably. She got me to feed her horses too. She got me to help. Then she gave. But none of that matters now. Because through all of it, the biggest secret of my life entered my life. A mare named Secret. And the moment she did, some part of me buried deep under the noise finally exhaled. Field note. The one who said yes. Before Secret, my field was a floodplain, not just metaphorically, literally. In 2024, during Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, I swam 1.5 miles with my dog in a river. We hit debris we couldn't see under the water, shards, limbs, wire, wreckage. I didn't even know what had torn into me until later. But I knew if I didn't find a way to shore, we'd both be gone. I'd been through floods. I know what water does, and I know what it feels like to have a place where there is nowhere left to stand. That's what my inner world felt like before her. Not wild in the poetic sense, wild in the you can't build a house here kind of way, because one night of rain and that house is gone. So I never built one, not in myself, not really. I didn't know it yet, but I'd been holding the blueprint to a home I'd never seen. And then she pretended to limp. Her back left leg suddenly off, lame, they said. Disposable, they whispered, too old to be worth anything. But I felt something else, an intelligence beneath the surface. Something in me knew this injury wasn't really an injury. It was signal. And the very moment I made the decision inside myself, no paperwork, no fanfare, just a quiet internal yes, that I would take her on fully, claim her, and claim her care as mine, that limp magically disappeared. It was gone in an instant. It felt like a spell had broken. The field shifted, like deciding to jump off a cliff knowing you might drown, but still choosing to leap because something in your bones tells you, if I do this, I might finally live. Then days later, I signed the papers, the official transfer, the thing humans do to mark something as real. And that was when she walked up to me on her own, without hesitation, no limp in sight, and placed her head with full weight into the center of my chest, right into the part of me that had been holding its breath for decades. She exhaled, a deep, ancient horse sigh, and she stayed. She didn't run, she didn't fidget, she didn't turn away. She just stayed right there, calm, close, breathing with me. I was the one who had to walk away, eventually, to go get her grain. There was the moment something foundational shifted. That moment. That was the beginning of her being able to just be near me, of finding calm in my presence, of choosing to stay. She understood both layers, the energetic one and the human ritual that followed. She didn't want saving. She didn't need praise. She needed witnessing. She needed to know I would honor her intelligence, not manage it. That I would approach her with awe, not assumption. That I would let her retain her ferocity without asking her to perform it for me. She was sovereign. I just didn't know I was, too. And the truth is, if I'd been a horse in that field, I would have been the one she chose, not because I was tame, but because I didn't ask her to be. What part of me reached for her? My chest, the place that houses the lungs, the ribs, the ache, the part that had been looking for a place to rest its knowing. I didn't want to ride her. I wanted to protect her, not to manage, not soothe, just see, because that's what she did for me. And they were right, those people who warned me. Women who get a horse later in life sometimes get a divorce. The horse meets all their emotional needs. You know what? That's freaking true.